What's up, everybody? You are now tuned in to StarCHaser Central, a podcast about Charles Hamilton, music moments, and everything in between. I'm Sig Raxon.
And I am Mike D. Jackson, aka the father of this shit. So, ooh, that could have been bad, but it wasn't because I'm not a dickhead. So, what's going on, y'all?
One take only. How you doing, brother?
Just like Charles, one take only. No deletes, no edits, no nothing. I'm good, man. How you feeling?
All right, man. Start of a new week. A week where we know at least I, get a break on Thursday. Shout out to Juneteenth. So it's a manageable week. How about yourself?
It's good, man. I can't complain. Not this week. I got one more week to go. So this week, after that, next week, I get some vacation time. So that worked for me, you know. And also, we just came off of Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to you, man.
Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Um, I want to get right into it today. This is a tape that you brought to the pod today. Um, we started the series at some point, but we're getting back to it. We are back to the anatomy series, and this time we are doing the soul of Charles Hamilton.
Yes, sir. The soul of Charles Hamilton. These projects came out around May of 2013. I want to say they might have been recorded earlier than that, maybe like 2012-ish. One of the songs kind of says it on this tape, but we'll get to that later. But May of 2013, we'll just say that. This is the second tape that we are reviewing on here. It's been a while, and I'm like, you know what? We got a couple of series that we've done that we haven't finished yet. So I'm like, let's move around. Let's see where we can go from here.
Yeah, I know for me, the first one that we did, The Heart of Charles Hamilton, wasn't the greatest experience for me. I think I gave Robotnik. Um, Mainly it was because some of the songs were no, all the songs were very long, and it was just it didn't there was not much substance for me personally there, other than the disc that was not a disc that may have been a disc that whatever. You kind of I think you were a little bit higher on it than me. I can't remember exactly where you ranked it, but I was excited to get into this one though. So was this your first time or was this a follow-up listen?
Definitely a follow-up listen. When it comes to The Heart of Charles Hamilton, like I told you on that episode, if you haven't watched it, make sure you have. Um, I remember saying like we got to get that out the way because regardless if Charles will say it is or not, it's just it had to be spoken about. So, and I wanted everyone to come to the round table and have the discussion. But with this project, along with, the others, I've heard them all, but this is definitely it's been a while since I've heard this one. So I can't even tell you which one would have been my favorite. You know how we do, like we get to a certain series and we're like, hey, let's rank them. We're not there yet, but I can't even tell you which one is my favorite. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do a random chance and see how I feel about this one, especially now, because I probably haven't heard this since maybe since it came out. I can't really remember when's the last time I actually listened to the project in full.
Interesting. This was a first time for me. I never really got into the anatomy series. I think I mentioned that on the first episode we did on this one. 2012, 2013-ish. Again, I'm popping in and out and really just checking in at this point when something catches my eye. And I wasn't too high on this one. I wasn't sure. I'd probably been burned by a couple other like inconsistent tapes by that point. So I kind of took a break. But I was very excited to get into this one.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, we got even before you hear one of them, it's like, hey, you got five chances. So it's just an interesting concept because it's the mind, body, soul, and all that, the heart. So you're just like, all right, so how are these going to differ? Because of course you can have like a part one and a part two, but this is a five-part series. So it's like,
Mhm.
how different can Charles make these? And we started with the heart, so now we're talking about the soul. How much deeper can you get, when you're talking about the heart and then you're talking about the soul, So I guess that's what we want to find out.
Yeah. Um, I believe we're looking at 8 tracks. For one, for a fact that I knew one song going in. We will absolutely get there. But let's talk about the cover that, I'm using YouTube like we normally do. I don't know if there's an alternate cover. You know how they go with covers. But what did you think about that?
So one thing I found out from the StarCHaser Central, the Facebook group, all of the covers you see on YouTube are actually from Chris Rivera. So shout out to
Oh,
Chris
nice.
Rivera. Um, I don't know if there were previous covers, like original ones that Charles might have made, because this is in the era of like Charles could have made a cover, but then of course other Star Chasers, other fans have made covers, and then it's like, hey, pass them around. Here's this. I didn't remember that he made them, but basically all the ones that you see on YouTube are from Chris Rivera. There were other people that have made other cover arts. I want to say Lyle. I think Lyle made some covers too, but they're not as easily accessible. But for this cover, it's kind of simple. It kind of has like a face of Charles, not Charles, Sonic. Charles is Sonic. Sonic is Charles. Dilla. Anyway, so it has like a face of Sonic, looking like very frantic, panicking, and I guess it has like right in the middle, it's like the little like signal, like the little beep, like a heart rate. So it's
Mhm.
like I think it gets the job done. Well, how do you feel about it?
It's cool. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what version of Sonic this is, just kind of based off of the design. It looks like a 2012. Not sure what game would have been out at that time, but it kind of has like a comic book feel to it, like the comic version of Sonic. Um, the soul part of it, I guess, the color discoloration kind of into like a pinkish hue. I like that, just kind of combining with Charles's, overall aesthetic that's been known for his career. So I think it hits all the different aspects of Charles Hamilton as far as like what we've come to know him for. So it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think for some of the other names for the projects, like for example, like the heart of Charles Hamilton, the mind, the body, like it's a lot easier to you take a picture of a heart, you can take a picture of a mind or a head or something like that, and okay, yeah, that's simple. But when you're doing soul, we always talk about that's something that it's felt, it's not actually seen.
Mhm.
So it's a little more difficult to kind of try and piece that together for some art. But overall, everyone has their own imagination and creation, so you got to work with what you got.
Absolutely. But we start off with From the Watchtower.
So when this song first came in, just me even seeing the name of the song, I'm like, I wonder if it has to do anything with the classic song along the Watchtower. And I'm like, yeah, it does. It's sampling it. I like makes sense. I figured Charles would sample that. Not sure how many times he has sampled it, but I'm pretty sure a couple. I'll be honest, I was skeptical at first when the beat came in, 'cause I was like, oh man, uh this sounds like it's gonna be bad. I was like, oh man. But you get into the beat, and I'm like, you know what? No, it works. I'm like, it's cool. I rock with the beat. Um, Charles has a good flow on here. He stays consistent. The hook is good. I like the hook on here. Excuse me. He talks about, nobody's listening, and this is definitely we're like really into the midst of like fans not really appreciating the new music or the new direction Charles is going in. And Charles, we heard what he said well, most of us heard what he said on the Heart, where he kind of lashed back at fans, but
Mhm.
it was kind of like I think in this song you could feel the emotions because this song has like a somber feeling to it where you heard Charles before be like, you know what, fine, fuck it, don't listen then, whatever. But then that's not his like true feelings. It's like the initial feeling he had, but
Mhm.
realistically, it's kind of like, man, like, what am I doing wrong? I want them to listen. I want them to engage with the music, and like you can kind of hear he's bothered by it. He's upset. Like there's a little bit of him being mad, but it's more of him being upset and just wanting to please the fan base. So I think he went through a good range of emotions on the song, and overall, I do like the song. So I think it's a good way to start the project.
Remind me. On the Heart, the Star Chaser disc was the first song.
I can't remember. It probably was. It was
If
somewhere in the beginning.
I'm trying to remember correctly, because I like what you just brought up as far as like the contrast between the two. if I'm correct, and I could be wrong, but I'm just gonna combine. I'm gonna compare those two songs now based off of that. It's like you said in the Star Chaser disc. I think the emotions on this song and that song were both the same. I just think on the first one it was out of anger, heart, like you know, heartbroken. Like I can't believe that I can't believe that they're turning against me, or that they're not following me or whatever, and they're not liking the music anymore. So like I'm gonna lash out with anger. Whereas this one is more like I'm heartbroken, but it's more hurt. Like I want to be loved. I want to still make y'all proud with the music or whatever. So that's why with that somber feel, it makes the song a little bit more. It's definitely better than the Star Chaser disc. That's not even a question. Um, I thought the song was okay. Um, I'm like you. I think the beat started, and I was like, eh. And then coming away from that and coming after the song, I was like, I'm still intrigued by the rest of the tape. I think some tapes we can hear that first song, and it's like it's kind of feels like it's setting the tape up for a disservice or like a bad experience. I didn't get that vibe. I was just like, okay, I'm not gonna be mad at the direction he's going because everything sounded good. Beat sounded good. The mix sounded fine. The verses were cool. The hook was okay. Everything sounded okay. I just felt like that's what I was gonna get, like a bunch of okay. So, not a bad way to start. I just wasn't blown away. Next up, we have acknowledging magic, something that you always have to do.
Definitely. And I forgot to mention because I think it was on the first song. Charles did have the reference of minding my business. And
It
I'm like,
is.
oh, minding my business. And it's crazy because we talked about it before. I'm like, man, I thought he really started that like around that 2015 era.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, definitely 2012, 2013. But it's crazy because his flow then, let's say the 2012, 2013 era versus later on, like he's freestyling on with both, but it's more of the later on it becomes a slow and reserved A to B, what we call it, But with acknowledging magic, the beat for this it has this mysterious and menacing feel to it. But I really like it. It brings you in. It makes you want to listen more. And I'm like, man, like kind of reminds me like going through like a dungeon. Like, it's dimly lit, and then you're just
Yeah.
like, I don't know what's about to happen, but I'm ready for the next turn. Or you're reading like a really good book that's like, ah man, turn to the next page, and you got the hair bumps and not the hair bumps, the goosebumps and the hair standing up. So um Charles has a calm deposition on here, and he sounds like a narrator with the flow in the song. I know sometimes we talk about, oh, Charles doesn't have the right energy. He sounds like really low or sounds really, but I'm like, no, like this is the perfect range he had for the song. I feel like he's basically reading the story to us, whatever's going on. Um, Pun intended, the hook is magical. I said that. The harmony while he's singing is hypnotic. And I'm like, this is, the way he's singing on this song, it works. I like the song better than the first one, but it's one of those things where you gradually get better and better. You get another song that you really like. So I really like this one. So I like it.
Yeah, I'm a fan of this one. I like the like you said, the dungeon style menacing type of beat or whatever. Uh, not quite as dark as what will, not quite as menacing as another one that we'll come to find out, but it definitely has that vibe and kind of sets the table for that one. Um, Interesting that he points out, I would prefer if you not critique my music or critique this or whatever. Do you think he meant the song itself, or do you think he meant more like metaphorically, like, don't critique this music because it's coming from my soul? Do you think that's what he kind of meant by that? Because that's kind of what the vibe I got. It's like not necessarily this song or the music itself, but like the content or like the where the songs are originating from, which is the soul. That's why it's more um emotional, more attachment to the songs.
I could easily see both being right. Like, let's say if we're just talking about this song, like, hey, don't critique, this, because also with the was it one of the previous tapes we talked about where Charles was like, oh, don't take my stuff out of context, don't critique my, and it's like, yeah, but that's when you put art or music or whatever you want to call it out there, it's there to be critiqued, you know. But at the same time, like you said, in his defense, it's about, hey, this is from my soul, so it means something. Everyone that knows, anyone that's an artist in any shape or form, very sensitive about, you know, their work, and that's fine. You're allowed to be, because, like I said, it comes from your soul, comes from your heart, comes from your mind, it comes from everywhere, you know. So, um, I see both sides being right, because, you know, it's coming from you and it's coming from a personal place. We all know Charles is very personal with his music, so at the same time, it's like once you put it out there, it's meant to be critiqued. So I see both arguments and I see both sides.
Yeah, I think just overall, I don't feel like there was anything on this tape where I think somebody would critique content wise. We've had tapes where it's like, Charles has said some things and it's like, all right, bro, no, we gotta say something here. I don't think there's really anything on this song in particular or on this tape where I'm like, I mean, there might be some stuff you could nitpick at, but I don't think there's anything like that uh is forefront. That's like immediately that's the first thing you think of, or whatever. Like I said, I like the song. I think it was very cool. I think, like you said, the singing was palatable. I know I just saw on the live recently, a lot of the people were saying, the singing, your singing is some of the best songs or whatever. And that's a mixed bag. I wouldn't say that's it's where all his best songs come from, but like there are a lot of songs where he has sang a hook or whatever, um, and it's made the song better and it gave it a little bit more heavier emotional attachment. So I understand it from that perspective. I was a fan of this song as well. Following up with, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to say this one.
No, come
I'm
on,
not
come
even gonna
on.
pretend it.
I promise you, it's not that hard, boss. It's you have to break it down. I promise. And put a space between the first and.
Yeah, and ours
Mm-mm,
worse.
mm-mm, 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 mm. The first an, that's in. Put a space,
Uh huh.
and then read the rest.
I got you.
A and
Ours.
A and R's and A and R's.
And A&R's worst nightmare, bro. Just say it, man. I hate when people do stuff like this, though.
Yo, reading is fundamental, bro.
I
They told that
don't.
in
First
school.
off, don't do that. Don't do that. If it was done correctly, I would have known exactly what he's talking about. This is so unnecessary. Anyway, yes, and A&R's worst nightmare.
There you go, man. You gotta sometimes you gotta try, man. It's okay to try. It's okay to
No,
try.
no.
Well,
Anywho, uh, I,
I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. So now I reward you with you giving your review on this song first.
wow, thanks, man. All that hard work, that speech therapy. Um, This is I really like this record. This is the real menacing one that I think is that's my type of shit. I like how it like it kind of fluctuates with the verse and like the hook or whatever. Um, I was a big fan of this one. Really good record. I would say, well, obviously I know what my favorite song is, but for this 3 song stretch, I'm not mad at what's going on right now. Like I said, the first one wasn't that great, but it's building upon itself. So I'm actually at this point I'm on a very good journey with this tape.
Maybe trying to play me. I said recently I've been inspired by Jay-Z. And what does she say to me? He hates thee, and so do I. And you're coming with me, at least that soul of thine. And I'm like, yo, I just came to dine. She ordered me a steak. I said, miss. She said, put it together. I said, oh shit.
You could be an amazing kisser. You could be an amazing kisser.
Definitely, I agree, man. So the beginning monologue is interesting because you hear Charles talking to some woman, and it's like, is there any way I could leave, without, giving you my soul? And she's like, oh, no. Basically, she's like, no, not really. And then, Charles, it makes more sense. And here's another thing, right? So I'll be honest, for the longest time I didn't know what the song, like the title of the song was, but
Mhm.
Charles is actually telling a story, and then it makes sense, and that's why I like pieced it together. So, Charles is explaining in detail a conversation that he's about to have a night with a basically a devilish or evil A&R about, selling his soul. So basically, it starts off simple, like verse 1, verse 2, verse 3, where it's like, hey, we've already met and we're talking, and I'm really not trying to give my soul up. She's trying to take my soul. Verse 2 is like, oh, they go to dinner and she's trying to wine and dine me and all that. And I know where this is going to lead, but I'm really not trying to go back there. But I do want to smash. So,
Hmm.
but I know what that's going to entail. And I'm assuming smashing is really like him signing his name on the dotted line. Verse 3 is like, okay, they're in the cab or wherever, they're making out and all that, and then uh Charles, I guess he seals the deal or whatever, but she kind of tells him like in verse 2, like, or verse 3, it's not really going to matter what happens after this because I'm still going to take your soul no matter what. So I guess Charles just does what he does, and then he ends up getting shot at the end. And I like I'm gonna say I like the flub that he does because he kind of goes over 16 bars,
Hmm.
and he's like, he kind of realizes like, oh, I'm shot, and then that's how the song ends. And it's like he told a story really well through freestyling. So, and we talk about this all the time. It's like the problem is not the freestyling. Maybe in the beginning of this early era, it might have been, but once Charles got to master it down well, it's like that's not the problem. It's when you just freestyle about nothing. That's the problem. This song, you're telling a story. Verse 1 through 3, whole story very palatable, very understandable. So I really like this song as well. The hook is really like not really existent. It's like but the whole thing is like it's a story being told. So I enjoyed this. But once I realized, I'm like, oh, so it's an A&R that's trying to sleep with him. Now I don't know if this is a real person, like or this is Nadia or whoever, but I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Maybe this is the feelings that Charles is having either before he London, maybe going to London, because like I said, this is 2012, so I don't know if really London was in the picture yet. So
Yeah, I like that portion. I always thought that just because since we're talking about like having sex or just sealing a deal or whatever, and then that person, your soul gets taken away. I was thinking this was like a succubus situation, which we've kind of had conversations with in other songs. Hell Yes is one of them. There's another one. I forgot what the other one was. Might have been on Vampire Sunlight, maybe. I don't particularly remember. But he's had this conversation where, he's been in rooms or has dealt with the subject of succubus. Um, I wonder if all of those had to do with like A&R situations, but I definitely see your point here, and that makes a whole lot of sense, especially when you consider the different things that the industry comes with or what may come with or whatever. So yeah, I thought that was an interesting way to make that story known, and again, it does show that he could do that, and that's kind of what we miss in some of the newer raps, I would say.
yeah, it's one of those things where I think it's kind of a layup for Charles. So it's like, hey, uh, if I'm not necessarily talking about the business forefront, let me use the succubus situation, which is crazy because one of his favorite bands is Incubus. So is it always a succubus? Is it an incubus in some of these situations that's masking themselves as a succubus? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But I think that for him it's an easy layup because he knows the situation well and he knows how to write about it or talk about it well. So
Agreed. Um, Chasing Tail.
so I'll say I have an unpopular opinion on this song, right? So
Okay.
unpopular opinion, this is one of the weaker songs on the tape, and I'm gonna explain why.
Okay.
The beat's amazing. The beat can stand alone by itself. It has a calming and soothing feel to it. Just if you just play the instrumental, especially when you hear it just at the end, it's a great beat. Verses, they're okay. Now I don't know if this is Charles doing like a part two to the last song because he's talking about chasing some tail, and he's like, how he starts at the beginning. He's like, the problem is with me, speaking for my soul, you're going to think I'm talking game, you know. So if this is him like really doing his side of the pillow talking or whatever, just
Mhm.
basically telling homegirl like, yo, this is how I'm gonna do it when I do it. Um, I don't know, but for the most part, I don't know if that's just him talking to the A&R again still, or if this is just him just trying to get some ass from someone else. Um, I just don't think that the song is as inspiring as like the last one. But like I said, the beat, like I think the beat just carries the song so well. The
Mhm.
verses aren't bad though. I'm like, they're okay. But I'm like, this is one of them times where I'm like, you know what? I like the beat so much better than the actual song itself. And the hook I can do without. I'm not really a fan of the hook. But overall, the song's okay though. Like I said, the beat I really love though.
I think I said that this song, the beat is good. It was just towing the line of maybe everything clashing at once and doing too much, especially when it gets to the quote unquote hook. The beat and the hook and some of the background vocals and his vocals kind of clash. So it's kind of hard to hear everything as clear as I'd like to. I think you are right. I think the instrumental is fire. I think it does a lot of the carrying. I think the sample kind of works perfect with this. You kind of wish he would maybe switch the subject matter, especially like I said, especially coming right off of, you know, having to deal with the A&R. Honestly, Chasing Tail might have should have been like the switch. They should have switched the title, and Chasing Tail should have been what an A&R's worst nightmare was. Because what was an A&R's worst nightmare? Just Charles himself? Because I don't see what the you know what I'm saying. I don't see how that's a bad thing. Like like I can understand if it was Charles Hamilton's worst nightmare and A&R, that's that would make a little bit more sense than the title that he gave it. Um, Chasing Tail, according to the playlist, is the second most popular song on here. So I guess that would be an unpopular opinion. Did you does Are you familiar with how people feel about this record? Is that why you're saying that?
Yeah, I definitely remember that people love this beat. And I know sometimes that's all it takes for someone. But oh, I love the beat, so it's my favorite song. And it's just
Sure.
like, dude, even think about mainstream stuff. Oh man, like that beat is fire. You remember what they said on there? Nah, I don't care though. You
Mm.
know. So for me, I'm like, it's a really good beat. But I think overall, like now that I've been like years removed from hearing the song, I can kind of be like, well, it is a good beat, but like I said, just overall, like the song, I'm like, I don't think it's as great as everyone thinks it is. Just because, like I said, the hooks, I really could do without that hook. And then like the verses are okay. Like I feel like I don't want to say he underperformed, but I guess like I said, because A&R's Worst Nightmare was right before, so it's basically like you just did a part two. So that's what I'm assuming. I'm like, it makes more sense if you did a part two.
Mhm.
Also, I'm glad you said that. You said that about the title for A&R's Worst Nightmare, because I'm like, why would that be his nightmare? Because he's the one that's getting shot, you know. But I think it was more of him, I don't know, maybe being cocky. You know, the A&R's Worst Nightmare is Charles Hamilton because of like all the stuff that he's done in his past and
Mhm.
everything that, like being the worst nightmare, like, oh man, we gotta call Charles because he posted something cryptic. He posted something cryptic again. He posted about Dilla. He's posting about Sega again. He's doing this, doing that. So I can see it being that. Of course, he doesn't reference that. It's more like if you know, you know.
Yeah.
Or that tape didn't come out yet, but the real A&R's Worst Nightmare is the cover of the Binge 4. That's the last thing you see right before it's over. Charles. That's-
That's that. That's the picture that the media outlets use when on his comeback. Charles having it back, like shit. God damn it. Um,
no.
I feel like an A&R's worst nightmare would be more of like at this point in his career, would probably be a title more suited for now, just because of some of the things that he can kind of say off the cuff and just randomly, spew out or whatever. I feel like that would be a better title today. I wish it wasn't a better title today, but that's another story for another day. I can see that saying. I would say there are better records on this tape. Um, and another weird title, especially if we're taking the ending of an A&R's worst nightmare, is we have the next song, which is Her Bullet. Is the bullet still stuck from being shot 2 songs ago? Like, what are we talking about here?
That's why I think on this one, this might be a part three. Like when I first heard this tape and also just doing the first couple listens within the last week, I I didn't feel that way. I'm like, he's just rapping. But I'm starting to think I feel like this is like a continuation of an A&R's Worst Nightmare. Because on A&R's Worst Nightmare, she's doing more of the aggressiveness.
Mhm.
And then Charles is kind of talking on on Chase and Tail, but on here, I feel like Charles is like really fighting back. Basically, like the beat's simple on here, but I think it's just effective for what Charles wants to do. Cause I think this is like the most like Charles just trying to like maybe not bar out, but just he's just trying to like say some hard bars on here.
Mhm.
And to me, I'm like, oh, this is maybe him. What you just said with maybe the bullet being stuck there, and maybe him just trying to actually fight back and not die, aka leave with his soul intact.
Mhm.
Um, the hook's not really existent again, but it's the same woman from the last two songs, basically. So I don't know if it's like a sample that he found somewhere, some type of clip he found, but it's the same person from the same last two songs, at least. Um, so the reason I think that's important too, because I'm like, okay, this has to be like a continuation of a continuation because she's really on this project a lot, whoever this woman is. And she's really doing her best to get CH. And maybe this is Charles' way of saying, yeah, I was shot and it affected me, but end of the day, I'm still going. Like I'm still able to survive and keep moving on. So it wasn't as fatal of a shot as maybe she thought it was. So Charles is still spitting. He's still trying to go hard in the booth. So and song's cool though. I'm okay with the song. It's cool.
Yeah, I really like this record. I'm gonna be honest. This beat is hard to me. I think this one. I like the soul sample stuff, but I also like when it's just a hard beat and he can just flow and kind of rap whenever how he wants to feel. Obviously, I would like the bars to kind of be impactful and kind of have some structure to it, and not just freestyle off the random. But I'm glad you brought up the point that the woman's voice is present in the last three songs because it does like now that we're like talking more about this definitely feels like a mini story within this tape. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like I said, the beat's real hard. Like I said, the hook is non-existent, and that's fine. I prefer the non. I miss kind of like when he used to just let the hook kind of do the talking or have like a sample in the background just talking. That was fine. Like I prefer those over some of the singing, the overly singing hooks or whatever. Very hard record. The beat is fire. Like I said, the verses are great. I think Charles is this is probably my second. Yep, this is my second favorite song on the tape. So
Okay.
I was very happy to be able to pull this from the tape for sure.
Nice.
This one I was very interested in hearing your thoughts on. Axel F Flip. Because when I heard it, I was like, is this an example of a beat that you're not gonna like?
Of a beat I'm not gonna like.
Yes.
No, I like the beat. So did you have more? I'll let you
Well,
keep going.
it wasn't quite the Atari sound, but
No.
it
I
was
got you.
it does have that that 80s synth type of sound to it where it's like it's either hit or miss for a lot of people. And it was kind of similar to that sound.
Yeah, nah, I know exactly what you mean now. So first of all, this song, Axel F Flip, is literally what it says. Axel F Flip. Technically, Beverly Hills Cop, Axel Foley, Eddie Murphy. There you go. So, no, that's the theme song from the movie. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, if you've seen the movie, you've seen the movie. Damn.
I can only think of the Family Guy thing.
Oh, Peter.
And then another.
Oh man, I just realized that how many Star Chasers probably have no fucking idea what Beverly Hills Cop is at
Not
all.
even close.
Not, not,
Family Guy's a better reference of point, which even that's starting to get kind of crazy.
which is wild because it's like Eddie Murphy was in an action movie. He was like an action star. It's like,
Wait till we tell him that Eddie Murphy used to sing.
oh man, see, no, yeah, we're getting to anyway. Oh man, the '80s were wild. I mean, we wouldn't
Wild.
know. We wouldn't know because we were at the tail end. But
Yeah, we would. Yeah.
anyway, nah, this I actually like this beat. The best way I can explain real quick for those Atari style beats that I don't really like is like later on when Charles does it, he'll take a sample and then he'll do it for the hook and then completely remove it and it's like bring the that those are the ones I don't like.
Right.
Literally, like if you give me the sample in the beginning and then you take it away and then you do the beep beep this sound if it sounds like fucking Space Invaders, that's why I'm like, no, no. Unless the song's going to be like a video game related song, then maybe I might like it, but
Mhm.
no. Anyway, with this song, it has a nice and light feel to it. Charles, I think he has good energy on the song. Hook's pretty catchy. And I think overall Charles is basically just telling people, no matter what, I'm gonna do me. He kind of just like references that like throughout the hook, saying people asking why he never goes pop and why he's going to rock. And that's just he is who he is. So I don't have too many notes on it, but it's a cool song. I like it.
It definitely feels like what would be a single off of this tape. I feel like that would be like the forefront of the thing. It's the most popular song based on views on this tape as well. Um, yeah, it kind of calculates of who he is. Like, could he go pop? Of course he could. I think I was gonna have a conversation. It wasn't a conversation, but it was just like a tweet interaction with believe his name is Wes on Twitter. But he basically had said similar, like, all alone should have been a hit. Should have been, it could have been a smash. It should have been on the pop charts all the time. And I was like, yeah, no, I say this all the time, especially in this era, would go crazy, stupid numbers, right? Um, but that just wasn't Charles's, he could do it, and he's proven that he could do it. Just that was never him. He was a rock kid at heart, and that was just kind of what was always in his DNA, which is ironic because this song doesn't sound like that at all. It doesn't sound rockish at all. It leans more pop or whatever, but still with just like a hip hop flair. But I like the record. It's a cool record. Wouldn't say it's like blowing me away or like it's gonna make a playlist or anything like that. But I think if it came on, I would like, oh, I remember this record. This is a cool record. The funny part is that he says that I'm more rock than anything, and he does it on the following song. The following song we have, the title is, let me pull it up. Do you have it before I do that? Nope, I got it. My fan base underscore teenagers. First and foremost, let's get the first thing out the way. This is like the
All right. All right. All right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
okay. Charles has told us on numerous occasions that sometimes that his fan base is gothic teenagers. He's told us that gothic slash high school kids slash sometimes both at the same time. I just feel like, as an artist, you shouldn't one box yourself into a hole or into a small peg, but also, you know, at 30 something years old, shouldn't you be making your fan base shouldn't be teenagers for long. I get it because of the angst and some of the topics that he's talked about in his music, cutting and the depression and stuff like that. That is a thing that runs rampant, especially in the golf community or whatever. But it can't just be that. That's first and foremost. In case you want to say something, I'll let you have the floor for that for right now.
Thank you. All right.
Uh-huh.
So here's me. So I guess I'll say shooting some bail for him because we
Mhm.
got to remember this is 2012, 2013 when he made this. So 2012, we would have been 23. Charles would have been like 25. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
at that time, especially like I said, StarCHaser Central, the lounge, like a good amount of the fans now that I know, everyone's older now. You know what I mean? But let's say someone like XB Xavier, right?
Mhm.
I know he was a young fan at the time because I think he's like they're 30 now. He's like late 20s, early 30s now. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So like if you go back to that, so if he's like that much younger than us, he would have
Yeah.
been a teenager.
Sure.
So and then there's other people like Sega. Definitely he was a teenager. Tori, teenager. So there was like actually a good amount of people that were like legit teenagers at that time. So it wasn't as crazy because let's say everyone was like between like 15 to 17, Charles was like 25. I'm like, that's not really of a stretch. It's like, okay, it made more sense. Now, what you're saying now with Charles being 37, 36, 37, and then being like, yeah, I want my fans to be teenagers comes off kind of predatory, where it's like, yeah, there's a better way of putting that. If your fans are teenagers, you can't really control that because people like what they like.
Mm.
But if you are only aiming for teenagers, then that's when it's a problem because it's like, yeah, like at the end of the day, you still want a younger fan base, but you still need them to grow with you and to get
Mm.
old with you because those are the people that are going to help champion you. It's the same thing with wrestling. You always need that younger fan base, the kids, to get into wrestling so they can grow old and then they have their kids and then you get the kids in the wrestling. But if you're literally just going for a younger demographic, eventually they're gonna like everyone's taste change, everyone's ideas change. So they're eventually gonna be like, yeah, I used to like that when I was a cringy teen, but now I don't like it anymore. Because if you're still stuck in that cringe phase, eventually you're gonna be like, this music isn't as timeless as I thought it was. It was just good for that time being, you know. That's pretty much all I want to say. We're like, at the time, I know why he said that, but eventually it's like, yeah, nowadays shouldn't be like that. You gotta elevate your sound and everything. So I'll let you continue if there's more.
Yeah, I just don't. Just to make clear, I'm not saying that when he says that is predatory or anything like that. I'm just saying from an artist standpoint, again, you don't want to just. It's just you should want a wide variety. You shouldn't just make music for teenagers. That I think that's at 37 is just kind of weird and doesn't make any sense because what would you have in common with them from that perspective or whatever? So that's all I want to say. And it does make sense just because 2012 is a whole different time than what it is today. So that makes total sense. Time is a weird thing. That's 13 years ago. Um, I wanted to hate this record so bad because I was like, there's way too much going on. I've said that a previous song was tiptoeing on the lines of doing too much. This one absolutely is so much going on. The rock portion of this song is super high, very loud. Can I tell you this is my surprise pick of the tape?
You
I
can, and you just did.
I am shocked that I like this as much as I did. The hook is stupid. Like it's not it's like it's stupid. But it somehow works for this song because it's supposed to once you add the teenage portion of it, it sounds like a teenage movie cringy type of song that plays in the end during like either the opening credits or the end credits, right? So it fits the mold, and then he's still rapping pretty high level, like really, and has a very fast flow on it or whatever. So it kind of matches the energy of the song. Could the mix be a little bit better? Of course, but every now and again, Charles has a song where it's like this chaotic energy just works, and I feel like this is one of those songs. So surprise pick of the tape. I don't mind it. I ran this song back a couple times. I was like, man, son of a bitch, good for you, man. I'm a real fan of this song.
So let me say as a joke, I'm joking. You're a fan of the song or you're a fan of Charles's fan base being teenagers. I'm kidding. Don't answer that. Don't answer. Hey, listen, 2 for 1 special, pow pow, you know.
Two
Anyway,
for two for one special is crazy.
listen, I got both of y'all. Listen, I got both of y'all. You know what I mean? So anyway, I'm gonna get a phone call later from that. Yeah, I'm gonna get a phone call either way. So
Yeah, but say it don't matter. You
yeah,
go
it don't
get one
matter.
anyway.
Listen, both of y'all can get 40 bars each. So anyway, I'm in a joyous mood. I feel like this is my inner teenager coming out. I guess I don't know. No R. Kelly, but this
Jeez.
song, I'll be honest. I know. First of all, you're wearing what's that? Kids Next Door shirt.
So Weeb Next Door shirt. It's anime version, big dog.
Anyway, same thing. You know, number 5 looking ass. And
That's wild. Yo, what is going on? Why is this going off the rails?
oh shit, damn, my bad. All right, bro. Back to the song. Back to the song. Seriously, with this song, like you said, it has that rock influence. It's a cool rock flip. You know, one of those. I feel like it's like if someone was into punk rock, you already know the sample. You know that song. Speaking of that, shout out to real quick, one more off the rail. Shout out to Chris Young because he was at the DC Warped Tour, whatever. I heard he performed. Hope that went well. You know, so with this song, probably my least favorite. Not that it's bad. Not that it's bad. Um, I think I just don't vibe with it as much as others. And you had a good point about the hook. I the hook is kind of annoying to me, but like you said, it's the whole teenager vibe. So I'm like, you know what? It works. It definitely works for that. But I will say this: the best part of this song is actually the verses. Like Charles does go crazy on there, especially how he ends the third verse. I forget exactly what he says or how he says it, but basically says basically he's gonna give y'all more clips in the Uzi. I'm like,
Yeah, that
and
was
at the end he's like, woo! I'm
yeah,
like,
that
I
was
was like.
wild. Yeah.
I'm like, you got it. I'm like, you got it. You got it. You got it. So it was him, having some fun and actually getting some bars on there. So he got to kind of like had the best of both worlds on that. Once again, no Kelly, no R. Kelly, no Jay-Z either, apparently. So
All right, man.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
We finish up with Mind Torture, but is more commonly known by a lot of StarChasers, Hotel Talk.
This beat on GarageBand, goddamn, I inspire my fans, but I'm the man. So I suggest you get up or put up enough money for a tutorial of which I can explain to y'all and show y'all this brain on mine and inspire that brain in y'all. I mean, on y'all. But since this is on the brain and coming off the brain, I'm lame to y'all. Being better than some and proving it is either being a veteran.
Easily. I'm gonna make this quick and simple. Best song. Best song on the tape. My favorite song on the tape. I can't help it. This is the one song I can tell you that I always listen to. And usually when I would go listen to the song, I wouldn't listen to the rest of the tape. I just remember being like, oh, I'm gonna go listen to this.
Yeah.
And I'm sure y'all know, but if you don't know, there is a music video for this, an actual music video. Hamovision, aka MK Allen, made the video. And I'm so glad this actually happened because I feel like it probably put more eyes and ears on this project because of it. At the same time, it didn't come out right when this project came out like a little later,
Yeah.
and music video is great, the song's great. I'll be honest, I'm thinking about it now when I actually listen to the song. I'm like, I already know the song. I already know I like it. I already know I like the song. But like, I was like, no, I'm still gonna have to listen to it. I'm like, bro, for the 3 verses, Charles isn't really talking about nothing. Like, respectfully, he's not really talking about nothing. But here's the example I can get, right? So when Charles normally does this, song doesn't go well. For this, if you have a really hot beat and you have a really nice flow, you can get away with it. But when you're just like, Sprite can in my hand, I think I'm the man, I'm like Dapper Dan, and the saying, no, you can't fucking do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. But if you're actually flowing and you're actually spitting some shit, whatever, then you don't have to talk about nothing. But any other time, no, you can't fucking do that. It's not gonna work.
Nah,
Also hook.
No, keep the bars going. Give me another 4.
Nah, give you another 4 is crazy. Nah, but what's it called? By the way, I'm sober, by the way, too, because I know Charles would be like, oh, he might have been drinking something. No, I'm sober. I can do that sober or lit. But anyway, but like I said, Charles did really well with this song. Hook's amazing. He does a little bit of singing in there, but it's more of like the rap and singing that where it works out. And then I really thought about it too. I'm like, damn, the way that he kept talking about the A&R, the I won't say the verses, I'll say maybe more of the hook kind of ends the tape and it's talking about the A&R. So it's like kind of like him being like, you know what? I guess that's Charles being like, you know what, fuck it. And he actually goes to the A&R's hotel room and signs the deal, So I kind of thought about that. And maybe that's not what it is, but then I thought about, I'm like, well, he has been talking about, all this other stuff. So overall, yeah, really great song. The only nitpick I have, not about the song, and I don't know if anyone remembers this, Charles might be able to explain this. So it was this song, and then I can't remember the other song. It was on a Chronometry. The I Don't Give a Fuck.
Ralph Nader.
Thank you. Those 2 videos came out around the same time because they made those videos at the same time. And then I forget what website it was on. Well, for you to originally watch it, y'all couldn't just watch it on YouTube back then. For you to watch it, you had to purchase it, and the shit was for like $500 or like $9,000. So obviously, no one watched it at first. No one got to be able to watch it at first. That's the only nitpick I have because I don't know whose idea that was. I don't remember whose idea that was, but that was fucking lame. Because like, bro, if you want us to watch the video, we want to watch it, but we're not giving you $500 just to watch a music video. That's crazy. So I can't remember how much the amount was, but it was like an egregious amount. It was something crazy.
Was it for both videos or just one?
I can't remember it either way. No.
No. let's backtrack. Either way, no, that's a no. But I also would have been pissed if I had paid $500 for those videos. I love those songs. Don't get me wrong, but you know, it doesn't.
Yeah,
The money ain't matching the video quality. I'll say that. I like the video. It's just that $500 would be a stretch.
yeah. My thing is I get where we got to a position of like, hey, we want to make sure we support Charles, make sure he gets some money in his pocket, but
Sure.
not like that. Not like that, bro. And especially like you said, imagine if you were like, you know what, I really do support do support Charles because I know the standpoint was always like, hey, I gave y'all all this free music, I gave y'all hundreds of tapes or whatever, so that's how you pay me back in this one lump sum payment. And I'm like, there's a bad way of doing it. Personally, I think. Um, but imagine you were like, you know what, fuck it, nah, that makes sense to me. Pay the $500. Cool. Obviously, you can't leak the video. It's kind of like you just that's your video. You watch it and that's
Yeah.
it. Then imagine a couple years later, it's on YouTube for everybody else to watch. And it's like, damn, that's crazy. But
Heated.
either way, other than that, great song, great music video. If you haven't watched it, please look it up. It's on Vision. Just look up Hotel Talk Charles Hampton. It'll pop up. It has thousands of views. If you go in the comment section, you might find my comment in there. So
It's a great record, man. So it's a very good record. Like I said, the hook is very good. The verses, albeit not connected in any sense of the word, but they're also palatable verses. Like it's not too left. It's nothing too crazy where it's like, what did he just say? And like something where you like, can I actually play this for somebody else? It's fine. He's like one of the few people that can like belch on a track and just we're just like, you know what? That's fine. No one even brings that up when we talk about this song. He sorry, grandma, but like you know what I'm saying? We just let it go. Yeah, it's a this is an all-time Charles record, I would say. I think it's one of those ones where it belongs on a lot of people's playlists. Um, it's a perfect way to end the tape as well. So good finish. Anything before we review this tape?
uh, I think I think I'm good. I mean, I'm ready to review and give my final rating.
All right, well, let's do that, man. We just listened to The Soul of Charles Hamilton here in 2025. Please let us know what you're going to do as far as a review, the pros and cons, and the character rating you are going to give it today, Mike.
All right, like I told y'all in the beginning, I it's been a while since I listened to this tape in full. Normally, I would just go straight to Hotel Talk and then that's it. I'm cool. And just go to something else.
Mhm.
Um, I am pleasantly surprised that, and a little disappointed in myself that I haven't gone back to listen to this tape in full because, like I said, I just couldn't remember what was on here and what wasn't. It's overall, I think Charles would help this tape out a lot. Charles had like more of a story on here. Not saying that like every tape needs a story, but Charles really got very detailed. He explained things well. Did a lot of great freestyling on here. You really don't hear like any flubs, and if he had like let's say like a flub or two, let's say the burping and all that, whatever, he covered it up well. Um, there's not really like any low points on this tape. Like I said, maybe like I would say I wouldn't say skips, but like maybe two songs I'm not really like the greatest fans of. But overall, near perfect, honestly. For me, easily I'm gonna give this a Bass Sonic. It's a really good tape. I mean, we haven't got to the other three tapes in the Anatomy series yet, but this is definitely going to be higher on my list. I'm not sure if it's going to be my number one, but
Mhm.
it's up there right now compared to, what we listened to last time with the Heart. This is definitely a big improvement. I really like this tape. So Bass Sonic for me.
Um, Comparing this with the Heart of Charles Hamilton, what a stark improvement. Going in with really no expectations other than hotel talk, obviously. I didn't know what I was gonna listen to because I don't know if I was able to base hotel talk of what I was gonna hear for the rest of the tape. Started off kind of slow with the first record, but I thought it picked up and kind of was steady for most of the tape. Um, I would say for me, I'm probably at least gonna come up with one, two. I might come up with 3 more songs on the playlist, not including the Hotel Talk, which is already on here, which is a good takeaway when it comes to tapes, especially ones I hadn't heard before. Pleasantly surprised. I thought that the only cons I would say is just maybe some mixing issues here and there. Nothing too crazy. I didn't. Some of the songs without the hooks didn't really match well, but other than that, I had a good time. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go bass Sonic, low end bass Sonic. Honestly, kind of flirts with like a higher tails, but I don't have no problem put this in bass Sonic. I had a pleasant surprise. There wasn't a bad song on here. Like you know what I'm saying? There wasn't a bad. I could see somebody having a stylistic preference and not like some songs like my fan base or another record. But for me, I could listen to this all the way through again. I would have no problems with that. So yeah, bass Sonic for me.
I agree. I agree with that. Especially, I know, like, we could be nitpicky with the mix easily with this project, and this is like 2012, 2013.
Mhm.
This project compared to some other later ones that we've reviewed, and it's like, what's up with the mix, man? Because at least like 2012, 2013, if Charles is talking about, hey man, I'm recording off a MacBook or I'm not really in a studio, I'm like, this
Mhm.
sounds pretty decent for something that's not in a studio. Me listening to it in my car, headphones, even just on the phone, sounds pretty decent. It's one of those things where I'm like, ah man, I can't really listen to this like in the car because the vocals or the no, it's like it's pretty good. So for that type of standard, and I'm not sure exactly what he used microphone wise and all that, but overall, solid tape.
Yeah. But let us know, man, what you think of the Soul Charles Hamilton. What will be your favorite records? And what should we listen to next in the Anatomy series? Let us know over on StarCHaser Central on YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter, StarCH Central. You can follow us on our individual pages. I'm at Stick Around 54, STIK around 54 on Twitter and Instagram. Mike, where can they find you, buddy?
On Instagram, the Mike Jackson, Mike Jackson. On Twitter, Mike D Jackson, Mike D Jackson. That's one D, two E's. I'll at me. Make sure you guys are following Charles on Twitter at Charles Hamilton. Make sure you are subscribed to him on his YouTube channel, The Talented Mr. Hamilton. I know recently he went live a few times. By the time you guys watch this, it'll be Wednesday, but Monday today, when we were recording this, he went live mad early. Like I
Too
want to
early.
say, like our time was like 7 o'clock or something like that. Like maybe like 7:30.
Ooh,
His time,
yeah,
he's like three
bro.
hours behind. So he's like 4:35 in the morning. And in my head, I'm like, bro, this has to be like a mistake. No, he was live. I'm like, I watched it back a little bit later that day, because he was talking about some behind the scenes stuff, whatever. But I'm like, man, like, respectfully, Charles, go to sleep, man. Go to fucking sleep. Uh, but yeah, make sure you guys are subscribed to the YouTube channel, The Talented Mr. Hamilton, where he goes live, and you get to hear some music, you get to hear some ideas because he did drop I think a song or two as well. So if you didn't check out those newer songs, check them out, or technically older songs that might have been from different projects that aren't actually out on YouTube. They might be from the archive. But
Mhm.
you know, last but not least, make sure if you are not in tune, make sure you check out the blog. I think there's some newer blog entries, maybe some people haven't known or seen yet. But enter the hamilton.blogspot.com. There it is.
Yes. Let us know what you want us to listen to. We've got some cool suggestions in the Discord. Um, Also, there are people who don't know that there's a Discord. So if you would like to come in there and actually talk Charles Hamilton, um, DM one of us and we will send you the link or something. I don't know. I actually don't know how we've been letting people in there, and we don't run it. We're just part of it. People, that's a common misconception. We don't run that. We did not create that or anything. It just got created. So yeah, yeah.
Listen, I'll say this. Don't worry. Like you will find your way to the Discord because there's been a couple people that have found their way to the Discord, and we just say, hey, there's a Discord out there. Go check it out. Like you could literally just type in like Charles Hamilton Discord, and I'm pretty sure it'll pop up somewhere on Reddit or wherever, even on Twitter, because there's people that are like joining, like, oh man, I've heard about this from the podcast, but we haven't given out a link or anything like that. So you don't worry, you'll find it. It's out there somewhere. I think probably Charles, even though he's not in the Discord, he would probably appreciate that because Charles being cryptic, he likes to leave like little breadcrumbs. So it's kind of like, hey, kind of like Mortal Kombat 1, where like, hey, if you do these secret moves, you'll find Reptile. So it's like, yeah, if you press up, down, left, right, whatever, hey, you'll find the Discord. You'll figure it out.
That's facts. But yeah, we're running close to episode 100. Still thinking about what we want to do. We got ideas, but guess we'll just have to wait until we tell you what we're doing. But it'll be a momentous occasion. We'll say that for sure. Mike, you have anything for the people before we head out?
Just the usual. Thank you guys for checking out another episode. We appreciate you. One thing I haven't shouted out recently because I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure there are some people that do. Not everyone is watching on YouTube. So if you guys are on, let's say, streaming apps and you're listening, we appreciate it. So thank you guys for listening. Like Stick said, we're getting close to 100. We've had some interesting conversations and some suggestions. We never had Charles Hamilton fully on a full episode. You know, that might happen one day. We still do guest appearances. So if you guys ever want to be on a guest episode, let us know. If there's a certain tape you want us to review, feel free to say whatever you want, because I feel like some people, like, they're a little like anxious about asking. Like, we won't tell you no. It just might not pop up as the next episode. So whatever ideas you have for the next episode or even the 100th episode, just let us know, and we'll run it by each other and it'll be there momentarily. All right. But until then, we appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. We are logging out at StarCHaser Central Podcast, where we always encourage you to follow your dreams
and reach for the stars.
But for one night, can I not wonder? Everything could go well if you take me back to your hotel.